I have something here that I cannot wait to try out. Something I think could be a lot of fun. It won't break the bank. It is a night vision scope by oneleaf. Hey guys, welcome to Jase Outdoors. I am Jase, and not only is this a night vision scope, but it also has a built-in rangefinder that is good to up to 1,100 yards. It has a built-in compass, and it records 4K video up to 120 frames per second. It records audio, and it has up to a 13-time digital magnification. And the best part is it doesn't have a $2,000 price tag. So I'll unbox this real quick and we'll see how well this thing performs. Upon opening, you are greeted with your customer support, a microfiber cloth, instructions. In the box you have the battery charger, a 65mm and a 55mm eye cups, 65mm battery cap. You got your mounting rings, USB cords with some Allen keys, and some more cords, and some rings, and then the scope itself. Holy cow. Wow. That thing, it's got some meat to it. I mean, this thing is pretty hefty. That is a scope. Holy smokes. So I'm just going to be honest here. I might have to cut this and read over the instructions just so I know what I'm talking about. There's a lot of buttons up here that I'm not familiar with just yet. I'm going to learn this thing a little bit and I'll be right back. Alright, just skim through the instructions a little bit. So on the end is your cap that you want to take off for your night vision. Daytime you can actually leave that on. You have a big focus knob right here, so it says right on top here, far, near. It just helps you focus quickly. This is your built-in rangefinder. On the side you have your USB caps right here. You got USB-C cable and your HD port, and this little slot here underneath that rubber piece is where your micro SD card is. Then moving on back, this knob here is like your menu, your zoom in, your digital zoom. So once you're in your menu settings in the scope, you will control it with this button here. Videos, take pictures, turn on the night vision knobs, and your power button is right here on the side. You're going to just push and hold that for about 3 seconds, and this thing should turn on. Take the back cap off. Oh, that looks so cool. That is so neat. I'm gonna have to figure out a way to be able to show this to you. I'm gonna get this thing installed, see how difficult that is, and we'll get this thing sighted in and then really just kind of put it to the test and hopefully be able to show you what it looks like inside. I'm actually gonna mount this, I think, on a high-powered air rifle, one just to save my shoulder and save the wallet a little bit. This will be much cheaper to shoot, but just to give you an idea the sizes of these scopes, this thing is, I mean, it doesn't feel cheap, let's put it that way. It's like high quality aluminum. I'm pretty excited to give this thing a try. I think this could be cool. But before I mount this to my gun and sight it in, I just want to go through the menu with you because there's a few important things in there, and you can kind of see how it operates. I was able to hook the HDMI port into an external recorder, so now you can see exactly what I see inside the scope. I just have it pointed at the white wall so it's easy to see. And right here on the very top is your menu button. You're going to long press that, and that will take you into your settings. And your first setting is your reticle type. So now this top button, you short press it, and that will bring up different reticles that you can choose from, which is kind of neat. So you just have you know, a dot, whatever you want. I'm just going to keep it on the default one for now. To select it, you're just going to short press that again. Takes a second for it to save it. Shot 0 is the next one down. Short press again. And then down at the bottom you can see that you move the reticle to the bullet hole. So once you move that red reticle over, there's going to be a white crosshairs there so that you know exactly where to keep that. And then you just adjust your red reticle over to the bullet hole, save it, and sighting this thing in should be a breeze. And then backing out, you can change your reticle color. Position, you can set this, you know, where you want it to be displayed in the viewfinder. I'm just going to leave it in the center. Now, the ballistic parameters, I'll show you what this looks like in here. This is probably getting a little bit beyond me, or just to the point where I'm not going to mess with all of this. But you got ballistic groups, ballistic models, your bullet weight, you know, oh my gosh, your shooting angles, wind speed, wind angle, its altitude, temperature, and then this I thought is kind of important, the FFP and SFP. What it does is, let me show you. So it defaults to FFP. I'm going to back out here and just go to the main scope. As you zoom in, you can see when I zoom up at the top left, you can see X 2.0 is your magnification 3. So as you can see, your reticle increases in size. So the more you zoom in, so if you go to all the way to 13 times zoom, your reticle crosshairs is now giant. Let's go back into the menu, and we're going to put it on SFP. And then now, once you zoom in, you can see I'm at 3 times, 4 times. Your reticle does not change in size. So I thought that was kind of important, just because of your picture-picture display. Once you keep zooming in, it just overlaps everything, and then you don't know what you're looking at. So range marker align. So you can set where your rangefinder marker is. You can read at the bottom here, you got to turn it to black and white mode, and then you basically just move the green marker to the blinking point, and that's how you set that. I haven't gotten that far with it yet. ISO sensitivity, I leave it auto. Unit, you can go from yards to meters. Screen aspect ratio, leave it 16:9. Movie mode, it has 4K. It's really hard for me not to go to 120, so 120 frames per second. Probably could do some pretty cool slow motion stuff with that. And then your photo resolution, movie clip time. So I'm not sure if this will continue recording after the 2 minutes, like if it starts another clip or not. I'll have to play with that, but I'm going to put it on 10 minutes, just auto record. Kind of nice, I think. Once you turn on the scope, it just automatically starts recording, so it's not another button you have to press. You can choose to record sound or not. Exposure, just going to leave it 0, metering, multi, so brightness, contrast, saturation. I will say that when I had this out, just playing with it a little bit, I really feel like the saturation it's very vibrant. It's to the point where it almost confuses your eye because it looks better than in real life. Like it's like you're looking at a movie. I'm probably going to play with this to the point where I'm going to desaturate it just a little bit. Magnification adjustment is set at 1. You can go in smaller increments if you want to. I only wish that you could go into larger increments, maybe 2 at a time, because even 1 at a time seems to go pretty slow. Also, you can turn on a red dot. It's a laser that is only available on this model. I'm going to keep that off. Backlight light is probably good to leave on. Brightness. So the picture-in-picture is, I thought it's pretty cool. We'll get to that a little bit later. And then you have day, starry, night. Again, that's something I'm going to have to see what the difference is. And then scrolling down, you want to probably leave your widgets on. Compass calibration, your gyro calibration. So on this scope, if I back out of here real quick, you can see on the left-hand side is your pitch elevation. So if I tilt that down, it gives you your angle. And then on the right-hand side, it gives you your roll angle. So that basically will calibrate that so you know exactly that you're aligned perfectly. We'll go back into the menu here. If you go the opposite way, it's quicker to get to where we just were. And these are just a few of the stamp, date logo. I'll probably just put the date, date format, Month, day, year makes a little more sense to me. Clock setting, we'll fix that later. Format the SD card, and you can just go back and if you want to reset the whole thing. And just going back to the main screen, if you look on the top left hand side, that is your compass. It shows you which way you are facing, which is pretty wild. So I'm facing north, northwest. And then over, like right in the middle, you can't see it on the white wall. You see that grayed out little box at the top? That is your picture-in-picture. So it's just an upscaled look at what your crosshairs is looking at. I thought that's pretty cool. And that's it with the menu. It was a little overwhelming at first, but really once you start going through there and playing with it, the controls are pretty easy. It really just all starts to make sense. The only thing that is going to take a lot of work for me is that that ballistics chart. So I'm going to get this thing mounted on my air rifle here, and we'll take it outside, sight it in, see what that process is like, and can't wait to see what the footage looks like. This thing looks ridiculously awesome. It's just, whoo, it's heavy.
So I placed a fairly large target out there with an orange dot on there. It's only about 30 yards away. I wanted something big just because I have no idea where this thing is going to shoot. So I want to be able to see where my bullet hole is. And then I will show you how to adjust to sight this in. Hopefully it's as easy as I think it's going to be. But I'll be curious to see how this goes. So let's give this a shot. Again, I'm hooked to an external recorder, so you can see exactly what I'm seeing inside the scope. I'm going to hit record on the camera as well, so I got actual footage from the scope. I'm just on this little tripod, as you can tell from the screen, that this thing is not the sturdiest thing in the world, so there could be some user error here. But oh, and also I installed the daytime cap. That just really cuts down on glare depending on the lighting situation. So you definitely want to use this when you're outside in bright sunlight. All right, here we go. So I'm at 1x zoom. I'm gonna take it to about 5. I seem to like that. So at 30 yards, I think that's pretty good. Here we go. As you can see way down low there, I'm a good, 10 inches low. To sight this in, you're gonna long press the menu button, and then your settings will pop up. It's the second one down, so you're gonna just turn the knob one time, short press to select it, and then here you're gonna move the reticle to the bullet hole. So it says it down there in the bottom. So you wanna put the crosshairs right on the target, because as you move this, you'll see the white crosshairs stay there. So you're just going to take this, you're going to move it left or right. This is the x-axis. Once you get to about where you want to be, you're going to select it to the next one. Now you're moving the y-axis, and then you can scroll down, and I got to go way down. Still going. So again, put the white crosshairs on the target. That looks about good. I'm going to move it back to the left. I think I went a little too far. So that should be pretty close. Let's try that. So from here, you want to make sure you press the camera button on the top here. You're going to press that once, and then you can save up to 6 spots in here. So I'm just going to keep it on 1, and you want to make sure it says successfully saved. From here, we go long press to get out of the settings, and we're back to firing. I'm gonna go back to 5x zoom. All right, we're at 6. And let's just see where this puts me. Wow. As you can see, I brought it right up in line with the bullseye, but I'm still just a little bit right. So we're gonna fine tune that. I mean, one shot, I'm basically in there. I mean, that's a pretty small orange dot out there. So let's just fine tune it. Again, I'm gonna long press to get to the settings, go to shot 0, select it, and so this time I'm shooting to the right. So let's go in the wrong way. So again, you want to keep the white crosshairs on your target and move the red one to your bullet hole. So I'm going to say right about a little bit more maybe. Right about there. And we're going to save that. Save it to slot 1. It says successfully saved. And here we are. Let's see what this puts us. We're going to zoom back into about 6 times. And let's see where this puts us. It's right in there. I mean, 3 shots and I'm just zeroed in. That is super cool. I really like that. It really doesn't get a whole lot easier than that. Let me zoom in on it here so you can see. So this is at 13 time magnification, and you can see I am dead in there. One other really cool feature that this model has I want to show you real quick is the red dot laser. And to get to that, you're going to long press the menu. That brings up your settings. You can kind of skip panels by hitting this twice, and you just go down 1 and it says red dot. You're going to short press, go to on, short press to select it, long press again to go back. And as you can see down on the target is the red dot. But notice it does not line up with your reticle. There is a way to adjust that. It does require a very, very small Allen key. And on the top here of your rangefinder are 2 little adjustments. Your up and down. You just real small movements, as you can see how that just went. And then let's go to the left. The hardest part about this whole thing is getting the Allen key where it needs to go. And we're just going to bring that over. And that is perfect. So it's dead in line. It's as easy as that, and that really looks super cool. So one thing I have learned while I was shooting here a little bit, whatever you shoot at, make sure you adjust your crosshairs in the same magnification, because I ended up going back and forth like crazy. I didn't think it would be different, but there is a difference. The other thing I learned after I edited some of this footage, for some reason when I bring in these files from the scope into my editing software, it does not work in picture-in-picture mode. For some reason, it just will not edit the full file. It only sees the picture-in-picture part of it, and I cannot edit it. So I just want to show you what picture-in-picture looks like recording directly to an external hard drive again. And so scroll over. We're gonna go down and we're gonna turn this on. I think that this is super cool. So long press to get out of here. So as you can see, you get your whole sight window, and then just above your crosshairs you get a real kind of zoomed in, magnified look at your crosshairs. But when you take your SD card out of this and plug it in the computer, you do not see both on that file. You still only see your main image. You don't see it in picture-in-picture. And I think that's messing up my editing software. I'm not sure why. So picture-in-picture mode I think is super cool, and of course the more you zoom in, then the closer that top one gets. And I think it really just allows you to stay at a wider view but still have one that's super close. Well, now that this thing is sighted in, I'm going to install the Illuminator, and there is a couple places you can put this. There's a little rail right here, or you could take the rangefinder off and stick it there just to kind of make it a little lighter. I'm going to leave it like that. I'm going to end up mounting it right about here. They do include an Allen key so that you can crank that down, and it is very important that you align this beam with the center of your scope. So I'm going to have to wait for it to get dark to do that, and we'll see what the night vision looks like. All right, now that we got this thing sighted in, and I gotta tell you, it was probably one of the easiest sight-ins I've ever done. Really one shot, and I was in there, fine-tuned it just a little bit, just so I'm dead on. It is now dark, so we gotta test out the night vision on this scope. So to do that, you obviously power it on, push and hold the power button. Once that thing powers up, you'll see on top here there's a moon looking icon. You're gonna click that one time, it puts it into star mode, and then you hit that again and that puts it into night mode. You want to make sure that you take your cap off. You want that on during the day because that really shields the sunlight, but for night you want to make sure that that's off. Then I installed the Illuminator. I'm going to push this button twice. I'm going to hit record here so you can see it. So this is what it looks like in night mode without the Illuminator turned on. On the very back side here, there's a button. You're going to push that one time, and that turns it on. And you can just see that that is absolutely incredible. Now you have to make sure there's a little knob up top here that you line this Illuminator up with your crosshairs. So you do have to adjust this. So right now I'm at one-time magnification. If I were to zoom in, and let me just kind of go up into the woods here. If I would zoom in to get way back there, you cannot see back in there. So on this Illuminator, there is a dial that says near and far. You're going to turn that to kind of adjust to how far you're zoomed in. And if to show you kind of the reverse effect of this, if I go all the way back to 1 power, you can see just how narrow that Illuminator gets. So that's for long distance viewing. I mean, you can still use it for short distance, but then you can't see everything. So if I'm going to go way back here to this tree, and so now once I zoom in, it all starts to look normal. Make sure you focus. So there's a few things to adjust, but honestly, that looks incredible, I think. I mean, for nighttime vision, that looks really good. And then just go back to the target I was shooting at earlier. And I have to refocus. I always go the wrong way with my focus because it's the complete opposite of what I'm used to with my cameras. So I seem to always go the wrong way. But that looks incredible. I don't feel like I would go past 5 or 6 times zoom on this because it really starts to get grainy. Even the daytime stuff, it does get a lot of, pixels in that the more you zoom in. Again, it is a digital zoom, it's not optical. But I do have to say, this night vision, I almost want to say that it looks better than the daytime. I mean, that really looks good. So you can use the rangefinder in the dark. As you can see, it's kind of bouncing off the target there at 36 yards away. Video coming directly from the scope. I have a lot of traffic noise here, so it's a little noisier than it should be, but just to give. So here's the same target at 56 yards away. I ended up just backing up 20 yards. Just to give you an idea, I am at 2 power zoom, and we could really zoom in some more here. A lot of creatures flying around out there. So this is 7 times zoom at 56 yards, and we can go all the way up to 13x. But as you can see, it gets very pixelated, and your focus comes very critical. It's almost hard to tell even where it's focused. Wow, you adjust that Illuminator just right, and boy, that really looks nice and bright. I can't believe how good that looks. And now I just backed up even further, so this is at 97 yards, and as you can see, it still just illuminates everything with no problems. This is at 4x zoom. I think that looks really good. Even 5 and 6 is pretty good. After that, I don't know if I would be using it too much. This is 9, 10. To me, that's just, I mean, if you can hold that thing perfectly still, like that, it's not terrible, but when that starts moving around a little bit, it is really grainy when you're looking at 100 yards away. So I wouldn't really go past 7x zoom. This is 4, 5, somewhere in there. Just the Illuminator. You can see how bright that gets. But this is 7. I think after that it just really gets pixelated. But that's pretty darn cool. I mean, that's 100 yards right there. I feel like at 6x zoom I could pluck off anything I wanted to.
Well, that concludes my review on the Commander NV400 by oneleaf. Overall, this scope, I don't feel like it is cheaply made. It is a little on the heavy side, but it feels very well built. This is not a $2,000 scope, so I don't really want to compare it to one. They are $2,000 for a reason. The video quality, you know, it shoots 4K at 120 frames per second. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Though, you know, zooming in past, you know, 7, 8 magnification, I feel like it starts to get pretty grainy. So I feel like a lot of that is unusable. However, you put it in that picture-picture mode, it really feels like it saves that. And I do have to be honest, when I edited this footage, from the night vision especially, I feel like it looks better in person when you look through this with your own eye than it actually recorded to the SD card. It was very bright. It looked really good when you viewing it with your eye. But the only thing that messes you up, it's so bright and it looks so good in there at night that when you go away from it, you're blind for a good 30 seconds before your eyes adjust to that. But if you're still watching, guys, honestly, thank you so much for spending the time with me, and I hope this helped in your decision on buying a night scope.